the ministerial back in February. Ironically, I was not there. I was down in Chile and Argentina at the time speaking with their government officials on critical minerals. That's another area where I think we can all collaborate together in sourcing things there as well when we need to. So each side, the EU and the US, compensates for what the other lacks. The Verde Magnesium project proves that the combination works. The question is whether we can replicate that systematically throughout the region. The risk of failure is there. We know that transatlantic mistrust is kind of a big deal right now. I think it would be strategically short-sighted for us to at a peak for at President Trump or whatever the issue is, not want to try to work together as closely as possible in key areas like this. I think you need to set that peak aside and look at our mutual strategic long-term interests. So I think 4 operational steps I would suggest going forward. Number 1, formalize transatlantic coordination on CRMA strategic projects. Reciprocal recognition between U.S. critical minerals ministerial and the EU CRMA list would be good, with the EXIM, DFC, and Project Vault offtake explicitly available to CRMA projects in EU member states. Step number 1. No new institutions are required, only administrative coordination. And on the American side, I can tell you from conversations I've had in Washington over the last few weeks that that appetite is there. Number 2, build a Black Sea critical minerals corridor. Constanța and Romanian ports, Bulgarian rail, Greek processing, unified logistics serving Western Balkan, Ukrainian, Turkish flows that help the whole EU and the whole West. Number 3, we have a disinformation issue I'll address only briefly, but that is an issue, and I don't mean disinformation in the sense of what is truth that we always hear talked about. I mean specifically about the environmental impacts, the social impacts of some of these projects. Some of these protest movements that we've seen are actually fed, I'm convinced, by both the Chinese and the Russians because they don't want to see us being the transatlantic community coordinating together, and they don't want to see these projects come off. So I think we need to have our eye on that. Lastly, we need to position Romania as the demonstration case. The 3 projects that are here right now that I've referenced briefly, 3 ownership models, the single point of contact delivered through last November's declaration, emergency declaration. If Romania meets the 27-month timeline, the CRMA framework is validated, and the returns of this being the proof of concept are substantial both in Brussels and here in Bucharest and in Washington, D.C. We have limited time, so I'm going to end it there. My apologies for talking too quickly. I had so much material to go through in such a brief period of time. Hopefully you understood me.
Thank you very much, Paul, for this very informative, I should say, overview and proposals that I think are quite salient. I think indeed there should be coordination, formal coordination between the EU and the US on developing these natural resources in the region, and especially the logistical corridor across the wider Black Sea region and on the Balkans. That would serve definitely not only these industries, but others as well. For the other 2 proposals that you make, I would leave them till after our next panelist has his intervention, because I would like to follow up a bit on those. We are having a bit more time between us because I was told that the 3rd panelist is not going to be able to make it on time for our panel. So yeah, our next panelist, Ivan Us, the Ukrainian expert. Ukraine has emerged to the European and really global attention as a hub and repository of valuable critical raw minerals, at least since President Trump brought up the notion of American companies getting invested in Ukraine. The resource potential is, I think, acknowledged. The challenge, of course, Ivan, is going to be how and when will industrial activity be able to start. All these forums that Bucharest also hosts every now and then on reconstruction of Ukraine keep bringing up and you know, in a way keeping the players warmed up and ready to go in as soon as the conditions are ripe for it. So yeah.
Thank you, Radu. Greetings, first of all, to all participants. Thank you for interest in this topic. You know, approximately at the mid of 2024, yes, thank you very much. Actually, when Ukraine started to understand that quite possible there will be change of the president in the United States, and that will be Donald Trump. And people who advised our President Zelensky what to do, they said that you should interest Donald Trump. You should create something that explain to him that he should stay with Ukraine, that he should support Ukraine, and so on and so forth. And actually, approximately in October 2024, Ukraine presented our plan of victory from 5 items. 2 of them was written according to rumors, it's not official information, but one was written together with former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. He proposed an idea that Ukraine can substitute American soldiers and the European military bases, but after the victory. So the idea of this plan was simple, that if you help Ukraine to win, you can return your troops from Europe to US, and it could be substituted by Ukrainian soldiers. The second idea in this peace plan was the idea with rare earth minerals. What does it mean? That Ukraine said that we can propose our rare earth minerals. It's not such big as China, really, it's a critical dependence. On the different estimation, more than 60% probably of whole rare earth minerals now situated in China. And if US want to search alternatives, quite possible it could be Ukraine. And as practice shows, when Donald Trump wins the elections, the idea about rare earth minerals really becomes interesting to him. According to rumors, this idea was said to Ukraine by Senator Lindsey Graham, who actually had a good cooperation and communication with Ukraine, and we actually agreed that that is something that can interest him. After Donald Trump became the president, of course, whole world see this clash in the Oval Office on the 28th of February. But after then was a decision of Donald Trump to increase tariffs against many countries. And as a person who worked in economic department of the Foreign Policy Center, we of course analyzed how the other countries will respond to US. And first of all, China. And response was, number one, was the fact that China limited giving of rare earth minerals to US. So it means that the United States of America should search alternatives. I remember I discussed this question in many panels, and including guests from US, and I said that, you know, for Ukraine, topic of rare earths is not so popular, but we start talk about them only last several years. And I received a response that we talk about them more than 10 years. So it's topic number one in the world, and I understand that actually it's something that can interest Donald Trump, and that was a task for us. As we are talking about rare earth minerals now, just I try to find my presentation. Sorry. Probably not here. Oh, sorry. Oh, here it is. No, not that one, sorry. Oh, sorry, as I understand, it's a little bit other presentation, because, sorry, today I will be in 2 panels. So, but returning to actually this topic about what I want to show in presentation, the main deposits of rare earth minerals in Ukraine, actually, first of all, it's titanium. Titanium, it's according to some estimations, Ukraine has one of the largest deposits of titanium in Ukraine. and titanium is used in aircraft building. And we know how many companies who actually engage in this process need titanium. Those minerals that actually are in Ukraine, traditionally they go to Russia, then they process it and sell to the United States. And actually the idea that we discussed with Lindsey Graham and other senators and representatives of the United States, we said that, guys, we don't need Russia in this scheme. We have sources. You have industry that use this titanium. So the question, who will process this titanium for actual metal that your industry needs? So in that direction, of course, we proposed you to organize production process in some or third country or US or Ukraine, but not Russia. And that will be interesting for all of us because we exclude Russia from this scheme. You actually received this important for your economy minerals. Plus the fact of China, because really these tensions that exist, and let's be frank, if we looked at the forecast, for example, of PricewaterhouseCoopers, that they made approximately 10 years ago, yes, it was 2016, they said that if something will go like it was 10 years ago, approximately in the year of 2027, so next year actually, China could be economy #1 in the world. And that, of course, 10 years ago afraid a lot, and I think that Donald Trump and his administration still understands the threat and understand that they should do something, and they thinking where they have critical dependence on China, and so return to the rare earth minerals, to this topic. And now when actually we see this deal between Ukraine and US and the US television, there was a lot of statement that US should make a lot of the same deals. You know, that especially in time of another escalation in US and China relationship. Now, of course, it will be meeting between Donald Trump and Xi Jinping, leader of China. But we know that this meeting, one of the topic, it's solving the trade questions and the problems existing between US and China in this direction. Nevertheless, that time we understand, and the US press write that really the deal with Ukraine, it's example that US needed to decrease their dependence on China. Actually, as for me, some appetites that Donald Trump have based on attempt to search decrease of this dependence, search the other countries and territories in the world which have these rare earth minerals, Greenland one of them, and that's influence on this policy. So nevertheless, we understand that if we want to build the Western alliance against our potential competitors, we should think not only about military way, we should think about economy and rare earths as a part of the economy. So Ukraine actually could be in this, let's call it so, scheme. We could not only in titanium, Ukraine so has a big deposits of magnesium and large deposits of lithium. Lithium is one of the main metal probably of our days, current days. We use in phones and some other different techniques. So that's why that is very important metal. But the problem of lithium, as for many rare earth minerals that's situated in Ukraine, that approximately 40% of whole rare earth minerals that we can find in Ukraine now at the occupied territories, occupied by Russia. So the idea of returning to a peace plan proposed by President Zelensky was simple: help to us to release this territory, and after that we can explore this potential of rare earth minerals in Ukraine, and it will work not only on the interest of Ukraine and create, of course, jobs in our country that will be desperately needed after the end of full-scale war with Russia, but so it could increase the independence of Western world, US and Europe, together of Euro-Atlantic unity or union between China, US, Europe against China and other their partners, be less dependent on them, and that could be very cool. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for being on time, because I'm a bit under pressure. This countdown is misleading. We only have 4 minutes remaining.
Sorry.
Not all these. So I'm just going to add, Paul, as you said, disinformation is a factor, and it couples with the obvious difficulty of starting new mining projects across the EU, and I dare say across the developed world, but especially in Europe, where the population density is relatively high, and you have strong environmental opposition, fundamentally for good reason. Thing is, it gets amplified very often by disinformation, and I'm just going to raise this as a challenge for us as EU and as member states. If we can come up with workable technical proposals that are, fundamentally sustainable environmentally, that can be accepted, that cannot be just, discarded over and over again as unacceptable. So we need some technical standards that we can agree, well, these are the best practices, and it's just unreasonable to not accept this. And I don't think we're there yet, and I think we're still going to face a lot of opposition, and I think it bears on the EU to come up with this sort of technical common denominator, but also on the ability of member states to adjust their permitting processes accordingly, and to the right authorities to push back on this wave of informational attack. We are indeed at the forefront of that. All right, so I have to fit in at least 2 minutes for questions. Sorry for all this the pressure, the time pressure of it all. But if there is one question, maybe concise, or if not, yeah, here, yeah,
Maybe
go.
just to break the ice?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you said, Professor, that we need to play catch up, both US and EU with China, in terms of mining and processing.
Right.
But do you have a timeline maybe on your mind? What does catch up mean? We will be able to see it in our lifetime?
That's a great question. I mean, Radu mentioned, this is on, right? Radu mentioned that environmental concerns as a legitimate issue, they are a legitimate issue. I mean, we need to be concerned about it. The Chinese, for instance, in my wife's home country, Venezuela, they've done mining there and throughout Latin America, and have left each place they've gone to, for the most part, decimated environmentally. They don't care, and this is why they control the world in terms of processing as well. We in the West, I think this is a bit hypocritical of us. We've been more than happy to outsource that processing for 30 plus years to China, because we didn't want to dirty our own environment, but we were fine with them doing it to theirs, which I don't think is, again, is rather hypocritical. Now, the Chinese don't care about it, we do, but mining is not what it was two generations ago. It's much cleaner technology now, at least the prospect is there for it to be much cleaner. So I think we need to recognize that fact. To your question, how fast can we move? One of the reasons why I'm not in government is because I really dislike bureaucracy. And the private sector is not perfect, obviously, human nature being what it is, but it's quicker. And so I do think that we're going to move forward. I think the Trump administration's speed at least handing out checks and cutting through red tape is a case in point. And frankly, the EU is not known for its bureaucratic efficiency either. But the CRMA process has been, I think, an exemplar of what they can do when they want to move. So I think again, that's why we should coordinate. Our bureaucrats should coordinate together to be less bureaucratic and more speedy. So an actual number I couldn't give you, but let's hope it's at least 50% quicker than it has been in the past.
Yeah, this is indeed a critical question, if you take the pun. Actually, the panel is off, but if you, I can grant 30 seconds if you can be really concise. Sorry.
30 seconds. Thank you very much, Radu. European Union is falling now into a dependency trap, from the dependency on the Russian gas to the dependency on the Chinese rare earths. And the rare earths are vital for the energy transition, for the defense industry, and so on and so forth. What are the most important three things for all the three panelists is the question. The most important three things for the European Commission to do today in order to EU not falling into a dependency trap?
Well, for number one, they're already in that dependence trap. They can't try to not fall into it. They're there. They're stuck, as is the United States. I mean, we're all working to get out of it, but we're in the trap. That trap has already been set and laid, and we've been caught. So how do we get out of it? That's how we collaborate together. That's why this is so necessary. If we're not going to be under China's thumbs communally, we need to work together. That's about all I have time to say. Ivan?
Absolutely agree with Paul. So actually, you know, at the US television, it was a joke that for better cooperation, we should create a union. Let's call it NATO. Oh, we have this union. So actually, it means that we should cooperate US and European Union instead of that framework. And actually, probably as for European Union, thinking about let's decrease probably of requirements, because you know that one of the reasons why US is so angry on European Union for in the case of Greenland, that actually is not EU. It's very important. Greenland is a part of Denmark, but it's not part of EU. But we have standards, and according to European standards, it's not so easy to explore rare earth elements in Greenland. So I think that Europe can a little bit decrease requirement, and together with US produce it, as I said, because it helped to unity, Euro-Atlantic unity. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just mention one last thing on Greenland. It was Tanbreeze, which is the biggest critical minerals deposit in Greenland, was 50% owned by a friend of mine until recently. So that's something I've been tracking for quite some time, and that's you're right. It's not a part of the EU, but I understand the angst that has been brought about by how we approach that.
Well, thank you. We really have to wrap it up here. Interesting as it was, we just managed to scratch the surface, I feel. So apologies that we cannot really develop the conversation as we should. But on this note, let us thank the panelists with a round of applause, maybe.